Bad Quarto simply refers to a printed copy of a play that's thought to have been done from an authoritative manuscript. What we call the Bad Quarto of Hamlet is actually the first printing of Hamlet from 1603. There are only 2 known copies of it. They were both actually discovered, quote unquote, in the 19th century. The scenes are sort of moved around, so it's not the Hamlet we know. To be or not to be comes much earlier in the play. To be or not to be actually is also markedly different. And it also has stage directions that are unique to this edition of the play. So instead of just enter Ophelia, it's enter Ophelia, her hair down, playing on a lute, singing. So it gives us a much clearer picture of what people actually saw on stage at that time. What they did is they actually took facsimiles of the original book, and they asked groups of artists to design pages based on the original pages. And since the exhibition is called Creating Shakespeare, one of the things that was important for me is to get across to people that even though the exhibition's about a series of historical moments concerning Shakespeare, it's also about the present and the future. Like, this is not something that we have stopped doing.
There's quite a lot that's been done and a lot of different interpretations out there. So for me, Emilio Brugaya, who was a Spanish bookbinder, one of his main sayings was, the heart of the book is still beating. And I take that to heart. You know, there's a lot that goes into creating a book. In general, my creative process is taking in all of the elements, trying to find out what I think is the essence of the book, and then create something that is both in concert with the author, the papermaker, the illustrator, and all of the materials present, and really just become a part of the project as a whole. This one I wanted to marble my own paper for, just because I could, and because I think that I wanted something that was in keeping with the restrictions that the actual, the artists who did the page spreads were restricted to, and they were using black, white, red, and silver. It's a bit of a after-the-fact collaboration.
Well, I think, too, that this is a text that has been fragmented from what we know and fragments it further. So I think something that was really important for me, and then in thinking about the binding, too, was to represent the fragmentation of a text over time on the binding itself.
Yeah, and that's that idea of fragmentation is something that, there are 6 separate rectangular panels that have this kind of curved parabolic arches, and those somewhat, have an abstract allusion to like a prince's crown, but also it kind of touches on it does touch on the idea of, different smaller pieces. Some of them are done in gold, some of them are done in palladium, and they're all part of a cohesive whole, but they're not quite the same. And I chose a structure that, because each artist had a different page spread, I wanted a book that opened completely flat so you can see each spread as you're handling the book. And also, when you have a book like the Bad Quarto, it wouldn't make sense to have any sort of sloppiness or, like all the fine details are there, because they should be there. And that's, something that, as I said before, I enjoy a decorum when it comes to my work.
Well, first of all, I think there's a long history of artists and printers and designers thinking about Shakespeare, and we have Sam's binding is in a section that's all about Hamlet, sort of beginnings to present. So it's really great that the 2015 Bad Quarto is behind the actual 1603 first quarto.
There have been a lot of amazing pieces of art in so many different, media that, my binding it's a humble contribution.